Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and in this video we are going to discuss the Sims 4 live stream that happened on Tuesday evening. I was meant to have this video up yesterday, but then I started freaking out and I had to sort out a lot of things for my stream last night, which, if you missed it, I did interview the one and only Katie Bentz, aka the full performance actor for Steph Gingrich. So if you are a Life is Strange fan, that will be going up on this channel on Sunday. So if you want to catch up on the little chat that me and Katie had, it was so much fun. I just thought I would let you know. Enough about Life is Strange though. I mean, Sims 4 is strange at the moment. Obviously, SimGuru Frost confirmed on their Twitter that we were not going to see any expansions or any packs for the foreseeable future until the end of 2021, and we were just getting the 2 extra kits that haven't been announced yet. But they did say that we would have new ways to play with The Sims 4, and one of those is coming in a base game update known as Scenarios. We are actually getting 2 at the launch of these scenarios, which I think are coming in the November update. We are getting Finding Love After a Breakup, and we're also getting Making Money. They didn't go over the Finding Love one, so we'll just have to explore that ourselves as players when this base game update drops. But the Making Money one is basically making 1 million simoleons. There is also like a toddler one, which I'm assuming you have like 1 adult and then like 7 toddlers that you have to look after. That's coming at a later date. There's also a second one that's coming at a later date, but I completely have blanked on that. So when you get into the UI, if you're starting a new game, you also get this new scenario feature, and then that will lead you into the challenge scenarios UI. So obviously we have Making Money, so the theme is fortune, and then we have Finding Love After a Breakup, and the theme is romance. You can actually choose to start this in a new save or start with an existing save. However, they did say that start with an existing save actually isn't in the game on release, so therefore it's going to come at a later date, which in of itself feels weird. I feel like we've had this so many times in The Sims 4 recently, bunk beds being one of the main culprits, and also like double beds and relaxing. I just feel like things are being released like unfinished. I don't know why they wouldn't like hold off. Maybe it is because we aren't getting those bigger packs, so they were like, we want to push this base game update. I can see this being annoying for those who play like generationally or they play rotationally, because maybe they would want to start in an existing save. So this is the Making Money one. Move to a new place and start off without a single simoleon in your bank account. Step 2, question mark, which we'll get into because I mean, I have thoughts about this whole thing. And step 3, become a millionaire. Household funds will be set to 0 after moving into a lot. Kind of like a rags to riches or a legacy where you start off with 0 simoleons to your name and have to build up your whole entire fortune. Then that takes you into Create a Sim. Unfortunately, SimGuru Duck, who was so lovely, I love that Duck got to host this. I really do see the passion when the gurus talk about the game. Unfortunately, it was covering the UI, but basically these are like your household limits. So for example, probably like I said with the toddler one, you probably have to have like 1 adult sim and then like the rest toddlers. Once you load into the game, you've started a challenge scenario. Check out the scenario panel to the left for more details. So we have Making Money, have 1 million simoleons. And then we also got a sneak peek at the lessons. Challenge scenarios let you start a household with some initial setup and long-term goals for live mode. Completing one of these goals will end the scenario and reward your sims. More types of scenarios will be added over time, so check back periodically for new, updated, and limited time, which feels strange to me. I get that this is probably an easier way for the team. We haven't seen a community event in a really long time, but if you've been playing The Sims 4 for a while, we had the Sugar School event, we also had the like Plant Sim Egg Hunt event, and we also had the Jasmine Holiday stuff. So the Sims 4 team used to do like community events where we could all do certain actions in our game game for a certain limited time. It's not my favorite thing. I don't really like limited stuff for The Sims just like as a business model. I feel like it just kind of divides the community a little bit more, but I guess these will be opt-in. If you do get certain rewards for these, I don't know what the future of these scenarios are going to be. I do see that being like, well, I did this and you don't have time to do it. So I don't know how I feel about the limited. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they have in mind. Editing me popping in to say, I do potentially think this could be cool for new releases with the limited time stuff, because maybe that's what they're thinking. They're thinking, hey, when we have a new like expansion pack, we can then create a scenario or a couple of scenarios for people to do these challenges with specific expansions. I would still prefer them to not be limited, but I do see the sort of potential there in them. So what are my thoughts about these scenarios? As you lot know, I am a massive challenge player in The Sims 4. I absolutely love having an end goal and then using my own creativity to get to that end point. I mean, I've done Rags to Riches, I've done the Runaway Teen challenge. That was the first ever challenge I did in Sims 4. I've done the Black Widow challenge. I've done the Celebrity Gold Digger challenge. I absolutely love a challenge, which is my first point, that this doesn't really sit right with me, because we could already do these challenges, you know? The community have been doing these challenges since, I don't know, since Sims 1, maybe. I feel like The Sims 1 was so different in how it was set up. Definitely since The Sims 2. So like, this isn't groundbreaking new ways to play the game. This is like UI that encourages you how to play the game and have an overarching sort of challenge to it. But these challenges have been done for years, which I also would have liked to see a little head nod to the original creators. I will say, even as a person who has done challenges in the past, it is quite hard to track down the original, because some of these challenges date back to The Sims 2. So I understand that it's difficult to give credit where credit is due when it comes to community challenges. I know some of the threads that I've used and some of the creators, but they've kind of like spun that into The Sims 4 when it was originally a Sims 2 challenge. I just would have liked to see something, you know. And I've given this feedback about Dream Home Decorator as well. That didn't seem like a new pack to me. Yes, there was some amazing assets in it. Yes, I did enjoy the job when I did play it, but it was basically just like a packaged build mode. It just felt like they were serving you build mode, but then being like, but there's a slight challenge to it now, which, I mean, you could have made over towny houses way before Dream Home Decorator. You just didn't have a technical like UI and a job for it. And this feels the exact same way to me personally. I feel like it's just a nice way of repackaging gameplay. However, I do think this could be interesting. I do think this could be fun. I do think that they could introduce some new challenges and some new ways to play. I honestly do believe that. I think it's very good for people. I always say that The Sims 4 is like so open-ended, and to really like tell stories, you have to like, I feel like sometimes you just have to work so hard to get like drama in your game. Whereas with this, it kind of like limits that imagination that you have to have a little bit, and you can focus on those overarching goals. However, on the flip side of that, the two that we've seen so far, I mean, the Making Money one has the most information about it right now. The question mark, it was literally like, hey, we're going to start you off with 0 simoleons and you have to make $1 million. You could do that by cheating. They literally said on the live stream, you could complete that with a cheat. So like, it's not really encouraging you to play your game any differently. It's like, hey, you could go to work, you could be part-time, you could be a painter, you could collect fish. Like, it doesn't actually give you a challenge. It doesn't specify what you need to do. It's still very open-ended, which I feel is already like kind of a negative of The Sims 4. And this could change in the future. So take this with a pinch of salt. They might hear this feedback. that I've seen on Twitter, I've seen it in the Twitch chat, I've seen it all over since scenarios got announced. They may take our feedback and be like, hey, this is something we need to work on. And I do feel like this is an opportunity for them to come in with new things and test things out. Maybe that's what the limited time scenarios are going to be. And I think that's quite fun. I don't know where the future is going to take these, which is quite nice. But it also doesn't add those consequences, you know? I feel like when you hear the word scenario, you're kind of thinking like, ooh, this might add like a risk factor. And we haven't really seen what you get from doing these scenarios or completing them. Like, we don't know what the reward for these is going to be. And one of my main feedback points always about The Sims 4 is that there aren't consequences. And I've seen a lot of people say that when the team mentioned scenarios, they were thinking Sims 2 scenarios. If you don't know what the Sims 2 scenarios are, I'm gonna take you back down memory lane. Basically, in The Sims 2, I'm gonna use probably what was the most popular scenario in The Sims 2. You could invite your kid's headmaster over to your house, and then you basically had to work on a point system to impress that headmaster. If you reached a certain threshold by doing certain interactions, like having a nice meal together and like the house being tidy and like really putting in the effort that you would put in real life to impress someone, then if you got past the threshold, you were accepted into private school. If you failed, they were like, unfortunately, we can't see this working out right now. We are going to decline you at this moment in time, which was so much fun. It was also available for like getting into a Greek house in university. I think that would have been so nice to see in The Sims 4. I think they could have played off what we already have in the party feature, because like there are certain things that you have to do on a date and there are certain things that you have to do at parties. I mean, there is kind of that scoring system, but I just feel like they could have made it harder. They could have given you more consequences to these scenarios, and who knows, maybe in the future that's what these scenarios are going to lead to. That is my true hope. That might be me looking through rose-tinted glasses and like hoping for the best and being an optimist, but I really want to see it go in that direction. So just to give you some ideas, like what if you went on a first date and if you didn't reach that threshold, if you didn't like do all of these things to impress your significant other on your first date, then they were like, hey, I'm really sorry, I don't really see this working out right now, maybe we can try again in the future. Or maybe it's just like a flat out no, like, no, I'm not attracted to you. Please do not ever call me ever again. And like, you can play on all of this in The Sims 4 with the emotion system and traits and things like that. And it kind of brings the chemistry system into it, which I know people have been wanting to see. Or the first time meeting like a significant other's family. So you have to impress the family. Maybe you bring round a meal for them and call them all over to the meal. And if they like the meal and if you're entertaining enough and if they think that your like personality is great for their person, I just think it could be so cool. But that's not really what we've seen. I know I've always said I would love to see more chance cards in The Sims 4. Whenever I talk about this, I do always get comments like, we have some chance cards. Yes, we do. I feel like in Eco Lifestyle, we got a few, like townies could kind of call you to ask you out on a date, and you also had them in Get Famous for some careers. Like some careers you can get promoted for doing certain things. Scenarios, again, would have been a really cool way to introduce more chance cards. I do think there's potential. I do think that these are very open-ended ones, like sort of just to test it, which I understand. I understand that they want to see like how many people are going to play with this. They want to see the stats. They want to see the community feedback on this. I also, on the flip side, did feel that way about sentiments. I was like, hey, sentiments are really cool. I really appreciate them. I think they add a lot to the game. But sentiments still aren't where I want them to be, and I feel like this could be another opportunity for that, where I'm like, this could have so much potential, but it's just not living up to it for me personally. Also, what I think is going to be really cool is I think modders are going to have an amazing time with these scenarios as well. Because it is mainly like UI based, I feel as if modders, I mean, modders are geniuses anyway. My hat goes off to them for their non-stop creativity. I feel like they're going to be able to come up with some really, really cool scenarios and like make this a system that really works for them. And I'm very, very excited to see how that's going to go. I don't want to call this a rant. I don't feel like that was a rant. I feel like I was being quite hopeful. Actually, I feel like I was being pretty optimistic. I'm not the biggest fan of the one that we have seen so far, but hey, it's the first one. I am absolutely giving scenarios the benefit of the doubt. I know I tweeted about this and it has been hilarious to see people say, the Sims team saw that we all wanted a challenge in our game from that forum that they did a few months ago, and they were like, oh, we'll just add challenges that the community has been doing for years into the game. That will be challenging gameplay. And they've made me cackle every single time I've seen that joke. But I would also like to point out, game development is a long haul. Like, you have to wait a while to get those implementations in your game. For example, think about when we got asked about Snowy Escape in that community survey, and then like a year later, Snowy Escape was released and we finally saw them implemented. So I fully understand that taking that feedback takes a while to actually get that in the game. And in the case of Snowy Escape, that was like a direct survey from the team. They already knew what was on the cards and they were like, okay, we'll just test the waters to see if this is something that the community wants and how they react to it. Whereas like when you take a full community feedback session, that's a lot of feedback to look at and go through and think about and then implement as well. Like that isn't even just like direct, that's like, okay, this is the whole community and everyone has their say, which I love, but I do think that's going to take an awful long time. I have my fingers crossed that we will get to see some of those implementations because I think the Sims community is damn right creative as hell and I absolutely love hearing what everyone has to say. So let me know what you have to say about scenarios, what's your feedback on them, how are you currently feeling? But I appreciate you all and I will speak to you all in the next one. Bye now.